So I was out last week because I flew to Ontario, California, because my grandpa died, which is a thing that grandpas do.
Yeah, congrats to him.
And he just like me for real. And we did a whole Catholic mass ceremony to bury him. And I don't know if y'all have been to a Catholic funeral before.
I have not.
No.
My Baptist relatives always warned me against it.
Yeah,
because they take too long.
It's terrible. You have to go through the entirety of a mass, and then the homily happens, but the homily is sort of hastily tied into your loved one's life.
Sure.
Somehow, and usually it's a stretch.
So is it supposed to happen at normal mass time, and then they just sort of work? So like if a bunch of people are dead, is it like you just go down the line?
Yeah, I mean, it can happen that way, but I mean, we went on a Friday. This was on a Friday morning.
Okay.
And so it doesn't usually take place on the Sunday, but you have to do the whole rites of the mass. Like it's just like this person is a larger part of the church, so we're going to do the whole church thing. And a part of that is a thing where you just do the rosary for 30 minutes. 30 uninterrupted minutes of two people standing at the front of the room.
Wow, you'd have to do it so slow.
Yeah.
I went to a Catholic funeral and I don't remember doing it for 30 minutes.
Sometimes they do it the night before in order to circumvent it.
Well, Josh, that's because you and your Dutch Calvinist roots just folded your arms and
That's
said,
true.
No,
That's true.
no.
I was like, I am not participating in this, and I blocked it out of my memory entirely.
My grandfather was part of a long tradition of California Republicans, and it's very interesting because they
Like
all
Earl
seem
Warren.
to have, yeah, well, they all seem to have the same accent, which is very weird. Like there's an
There
Orange
are
County.
definitely political accents. I don't know what that is.
Sure,
Yeah.
like the Kennedy accent. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's like the Kennedy accent, but like it's like the Jimmy Stewart one a little bit. It's why I could do Jimmy so well. It's because there is sort of there's an accent there that I grew up with. Actually, I'm just doing my grandma when I do Jimmy. But the woman who was doing the rosary had this accent, and she kept putting the wrong emphasis on the word. So she would say, "And blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus." And it was that for 30 minutes. So I'm sitting there in church. You know, it's 10 in the morning. I'm extremely jet lagged because our plane got delayed the night before because the winds were blowing so hard we had to stop in Oklahoma in order to refuel just to make it through the winds. And so I'm jet lagged. I'm out of my mind. I'm hearing this woman say, "And blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus," when my phone in my pocket buzzes and I get a message.
Oh no, I remember this.
I get a message from Brian Alford, and
I know him. Yeah.
And I was sitting.
I've heard of this man.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh, that's so sweet. Brian remembered that this is the morning of my grandpa's funeral.
I didn't know it was going to be in the morning. I knew it was that day.
Yeah, and he was sending, he was just like sending me like a little bit of support and love, and I'm like, you know, what's the harm in checking this? We're just listening to some Hail Marys happening at the front of the room. I mean,
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary, full of grace.
Full of grace.
She would also say trespasses instead of trespasses, which is very specific. But I pull out my phone and I read the message, and I would like Brian to actually read this for you now. Again, a very quiet church.
I just had a horrible phrase pop into my head. I'm so gassy, I could turn James Joyce gay. I'm not even gassy. I don't know why this has happened.
And blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
So many possible worlds, but we got this one. So many possible worlds, but we got this one.
Welcome to the worst of all possible worlds, the first and only podcast that's so gassy we could make James Joyce gay. I'm the worst of all possible AJs.
I'm the worst of all possible Brians.
And I'm the worst of all possible Joshes. Welcome back to...
welcome back to the Hype House.
Oh,
we're here at the TWOAPW Hype House.
Yes. I know I'm a sicko. I, Josh Borman, am a noted sicko.
Yeah, he broke my toilet.
He's reading off of an app right now, like he's doing an app apology.
And every once in a while, my sicko nature requires that we cover something that's to do with where entertainment is going. because we talk a lot about the pop culture of a dying empire on this show.
yeah.
Much of the time it is covering stuff from the past, but sometimes we need to be future looking as well. So I said, you know what, guys, let's watch some fucking MrBeast videos.
Yeah, and we were both very unenthusiastic about
MrBeast.
You're just turning it into AJ's MrBeast corner.
Ooh, yeah. MrBeast corner.
I don't know how he would do a horse sound. That's my approximation.
I think he would just go, we're going to give away a horse at the end of this episode.
We're not going to pay the insurance or the housing fees for that horse.
That's right. That's right.
boy.
Fucking luck. We haven't been able to even find this horse's breeding papers, but we're assuming it's a thoroughbred. We don't know.
Josh, what was your first exposure to MrBeast? Because you did come to us with this. So how did you first enter Beast mode?
I actually didn't really follow MrBeast before this. I follow a number of YouTubers.
You're more of a TikTok guy. You know what the big TikTokers are up to.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about MrBeast is that he only does YouTube as far as content goes. There are a lot of content creators who try to have a sort of diversified profile where they have a presence on different platforms. Whereas with this guy, Jimmy Donaldson, MrBeast, he's been on YouTube from day one, and that's been the way that's building his audience. But the reason that I wanted to do an episode about him was actually that about a month ago, he released a video that was I cured 1,000 people's blindness or whatever.
1,000 blind people see for the first time.
Yes.
In all caps, a little react picture as the thumbnail where everyone's looking very shocked into the camera.
There's a
and he's
child.
kind of
And
awkwardly standing at the side being like, I helped.
Yeah, he has a YouTube thumbnails lean towards the hideous anyway.
Oh, they're
he
bizarre.
doesn't fall into
Right.
kind of the same traps of making gigantic eyes and shit like that.
Yeah.
But he has sort of a unique brand of shitty thumbnail.
Yeah.
And this one is just horrifying to look at. It's like people have replaced their skin with clay.
Yeah, it's not great, but this was such a fucking discourse bomb, and it actually continues to be one. People are still talking about this right now, and
Alice was just talking about it today.
yes,
That's weird.
and he'd been on my periphery for a while because he is the biggest account on YouTube, right? If you follow
he
digital
is bigger
media
than PewDiePie at this
creators,
point.
you know who this fucking guy is. But I'd never really dug into his shit because it doesn't appeal to me, honestly. But I knew about the brand. I knew about his whole deal.
It's because you're not a child, Josh. It's
correct.
because you are not a
Correct.
literal teenager.
But I had watched a little bit. I guess the only thing is I had watched a little bit of the Squid Game in real life video.
That was my introduction to who he was.
Yeah.
I was completely unaware of his existence entirely until that video came out, and everyone was like, well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The Squid Game is about a nightmare.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Netflix was like, this is a good idea. We're going to make our own series that's Squid Game for real.
I think he's a really interesting case study in new media. And in the same way that we did that Hype House episode last year at this point, right? It was,
It was April, I think.
April. It was
This
about a
is
year
our
ago.
pilgrimage to the influencer.
So we're taking on this year's annual trip to the influencer zone. Yeah, I figured, why not talk about a guy who is genuinely shaping the future of media.
So MrBeast, aka Jimmy Donaldson,
Yes.
was born in 1998, or to put that in context, that was the year of Pokemon, the first movie.
Ah, yes.
And 3 years before Avril
excuse
Lavigne
me,
mysteriously
AJ.
appeared in New York City.
Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
That's right.
Of course. My apologies. And, he basically started as a Let's Player.
But before we go too into his biography,
Yes.
I kind of want to just take a moment here to pull in the very first thing that I showed you guys as part of the playlist that we put together for this episode, because we've got a whole playlist of fucking videos. And
so this is the first MrBeast video I watch. This is the very first thing I ever saw, and it's not actually his video. No,
Right,
it's a video. It's a documentary about him.
It's Colin and Samir who do a lot of stuff like profiling YouTubers.
Yeah.
But the reason that I wanted to start with this specific video is that it's not a MrBeast video. It's a video about him outside of it. And if you have not seen very many of MrBeast's videos, if you don't really know who he is, totally out of context, this video is one of the most wild things you will ever see.
I mean, that's the interesting thing about MrBeast is he's maybe one of the most famous people in the entire world.
Yes.
And yet, the way fame works now, the way that fame works through these channels specifically, there's no reason that anyone our age should have really heard about him.
Right.
right? Like,
Because we're not children.
Yeah, and we are not parents of children.
Right.
Right.
And so he's completely off of our radar.
So the first video then that I had you guys watch for this shit was this video. We spent 24 hours with MrBeast, where basically they went down to American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey. We'll talk about this video in more detail again toward the end, but I just wanted to get at this point first impressions from this video where he is opening this burger shop in a mall and breaking a world record.
It baffled me.
Yeah.
This kid who seems to be genuinely, his only concern is that everybody have a good time and that that everyone like feel like they had a worthwhile experience. He just has such an anti-charisma.
Yeah.
In a way, they at one point show the head chef of this burger joint that he's opening, the MrBeast burger. And that guy's name is Eric, and he is infinitely more charismatic.
He's such a character.
He is such a fun and interesting character. And I'm like, why? What, in a rational world, this would be the man who has all these followers.
right.
But instead, we're following this kid who just seems very sort of uncomfortable in his own skin. He's wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a long-sleeve t-shirt. Like, it's
Yeah, I
just
said
very
he's not super on when we first see him, but he's not in public.
He doesn't have to be on
And
yet.
then he shows up in public and he still doesn't, he's not my definition of on, that's for sure.
No. But I think that approachability is sort of part of his appeal.
Yeah.
It's like if you gave the weird surfer guy in your high school like $54 million and told him to change nothing about himself.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of the appeal to all these kids out there.
And he just stays in it, board shorts and all.
And you see all these people lining up. You know, this is people who have camped out for more than 24 hours, 36 hours in some cases. You have people holding signs of support for Mr. Bean.
He's getting all sorts of
I wish I
shenanigans.
did that on purpose. Holding signs of support. Oh my God. Holding signs of support for Mr. Beast.
Yes.
That just say shopmrbeast.com.
Yeah.
Right.
These are like 8-year-olds,
They've
man.
tattooed it on their faces with permanent marker.
Yeah. Like a lot of these kids are like, we're
Wait,
talking about teenagers. A
I'm
lot of these
sorry.
kids are kids.
I just wanted to take a moment. AJ, what do you think a tattoo is?
Yeah, no, it's when you just draw anything on your skin and it stays there forever.
Yeah.
It's a tattoo.
But what you see here when he does make this appearance, we get a lot of discussion about the logistics. He wants to make sure that everyone gets a burger. Whoever doesn't get a burger gets a picture with him.
Yes.
He wants to make sure that he can get a picture with everyone, which is not possible. And they realize, okay, so there's an estimated 10,000 people here. He wants to set a record for selling 10,000 burgers in a day because the record is 2,000. So spoiler, they don't get anywhere near 10,000.
But the defining moment of this video for me, the moment that made me go, holy fucking shit, is this moment where he walks up to a railing overlooking the rest of the mall.
Yeah.
And it's like this fucking moment of Caesar addressing the masses. You can hear the screams of the crowd and everyone seeing him. And somebody hands him a mic and he quiets them down. And it's like, he's God. In this moment, he is God.
His appearance is this like benevolent, like, I'm here, I care about you.
Yes.
That's what he exudes.
So I want you to hold that image in your head now as we jump into talking about where he came from.
Yeah.
That moment is him at his absolute apex. Now let's talk about how he got started.
I took the note of when he's addressing everybody. What if you gave Milhouse unlimited power? And everything is coming up Milhouse, but it wasn't always that way.
No, it wasn't. So you had mentioned AJ, born in 98 in Kansas. This is all per Rolling Stone, by the way. They did a profile of him. I'm just going to quote from the article.
Great.
He was born in Kansas, the middle child to two parents who were active duty in the military, with his mother Sue serving as a prison warden in Mannheim, Germany, before being stationed at Fort Leavenworth.
Wow.
Yeah.
After a tumultuous marriage, his parents split up in 2007 when Donaldson was 8, and he no longer has any contact with his father. He declined to discuss the reasons why on the record. Donaldson attended a small private school, Greenville Christian Academy, which I looked into just a little bit. Looks like a pretty standard issue like Christian school. It's connected to a Baptist church, very like Southern fried kind of thing.
Sure.
Where boys were given demerits for wearing their hair too long and forced to copy Bible verses as punishment.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is one of those Baptist schools attached to a Baptist church.
Yep.
This is a way that a lot of these churches will diversify. They either start like a high school or something, or they'll start like a Bible institute, a college that no reasonable person would expect to give a good education.
Jesus.
This is a very big grift, especially in the Southern Baptist
And
world.
Tim LaHaye did that, we'll remember, from the Left Behind episode. He started his own college.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Again, it's just like a growth out of the church building itself.
This is where it becomes interesting to me when I was like reading a little bit of his biography, because we talk about evangelical Christianity all the time on this show. He grew up evangelical.
Yeah.
And not just evangelical, but clearly a very like disciplinarian kind of background. I mean, his
he grew
mom
up
was
in
a fucking prison warden.
He's
Right.
a single mother in the military raising 2 boys, him and his older brother, who later starts a YouTube channel called Mr. Bro.
Which is very charming. Yeah, because MrBeast himself has 5 channels currently active. There's MrBeast, there's Beast Reacts, there's MrBeast Gaming, there's MrBeast 2?
Yes.
Which is, I guess, it's just more MrBeast, and then there's Beast Philanthropy, which is a very different thing, which we'll get into a little bit later. But
and there's actually even more channels than that, and I will get into that too.
Holy shit! Those are sort of the major ones that I could find. But he only started with the one, MrBeast 6000, as he was known when he first started. Apparently, he posted his first video when he was 11.
When he was 11. So the first video you will find is a video that we watched, Worst Minecraft Saw Trap, which is, people would make a something in Minecraft that's like, if you're trapped by Jigsaw in the movie Saw, here's a thing that's going to be a really hard thing to get out of. It's not anything special, right?
Yeah, this video was
low frame rate.
February 2012 is when this video is published. He's super mumbly.
It's a 13-year-old child. And the reason why he's 13 is because when he started it when he was 11, his first video was a battle cards video that got 20,000 views basically overnight.
Tremendous.
And he kept
amount.
making videos. None of them did particularly well. This was before monetization was really much of a thing.
Right.
Sure.
Maybe Fred was making money off of YouTube at this point, and like nobody else.
Right.
or like Ryan
And then
Higa.
PewDiePie would come along like in a year or two and start making some real money.
And when he was 13, one of his classmates found out about his YouTube channel, and he was like, oh, fuck. And he just deleted everything. So that's why the first stuff we see is from when he's 13.
So this is like all the lost years, basically, the first 2 years. But he has kept everything up from when he was 13 on.
God, if that Minecraft video is, imagine what the previous 2 years must have been like.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, just
I
genuinely
imagine more of the same.
Oh, it definitely is. I'm just saying, like, it must be so much more unwatchable.
Moving on from that video, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to say about it.
You get other stuff like that too in his early days.
Yeah.
It's a lot of him playing video games. It's either that or it's like first person shooters, a lot of Call of Duty.
Well, and that's what this next video is he's talking about how much money he thinks PewDiePie has made.
Right.
This is a follow-up to a previous video where he said that PewDiePie makes like $14,000 a day or something like that. And he goes into like sort of the basic calculations by looking at another YouTuber who had posted a screenshot of their metrics.
Right.
And he says, this is really loose numbers. He knows what all of the factors are into monetization, into selling ads and everything like that. But he gives sort of the lowest possible estimate of how much the top YouTuber at the time would be making. And it's over some footage of
it's a Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a video,
It's just
Black Ops
rambling. I mean, it's just not a good video at all.
No.
This is the kind of video that any kid who currently watches MrBeast is probably making right now. Any 13-year-old.
And I mean, that's the thing is I don't want to go too hard against these videos because it's a child. it's a child making them, and like good on him for doing so, and also for keeping it secret from his mother for 5 years.
Well, I think the thing that's interesting here is less the videos themselves, which are very much just like somebody who is young making shit for the sake of making shit because they have a compulsion to create something.
Yeah.
The more interesting thing is the way that even at this point you can see his relentless obsession with and fixation on metrics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's all about like he's already thrown around terms like, CPM and rev split because he is interested in the mechanics of the business. PewDiePie for him is an aspirational icon.
Yeah.
Less because of what he is making in the creation sense and more of what he is making in a money sense.
Right. Because MrBeast is not making videos that are imitating Felix Kjellberg. He's not putting his face in the videos yet. He probably doesn't have a camera at this point.
Right.
But he's not screaming and swearing and saying the N-word or whatever, right?
Yeah.
He's not that kind of personality. He's just kind of jabbering over video game footage.
Yeah, and it's like it also shows this obsession sort of with money also from like the get-go. Like it is this like, okay, so I want to make this into a sustainable career, but he's thinking about that when he's like 15 years old.
Yes.
Which is, a lot of people don't know what they want to be when they're that young.
Yeah.
But it seems like MrBeast from that age is just like, I'm going to be a YouTuber.
Well, especially in 2014.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people forget too, is obviously now the creator economy is sort of the thing.
Yeah.
And there were indications that this would become the thing that it was. We'll all remember, of course, the Time Magazine Person of the Year issue when the person was you.
Yes.
Which,
Right.
what year
We'll
was
all
that?
remember if we're our age in our 30s.
Yeah, right.
That was 2007, I believe.
Right.
But for most of the listeners of this podcast who are all the angry MrBeast fans
That's
who are
right,
going to
that's
come
right.
here to defend their Jesus.
Wait, so like there was a pathway to being a successful creator and having that be a thing, but at this time, a lot of success in that sphere still was dependent on also having a presence in legacy media.
Yeah, you had to break out because the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first person to become famous off of the internet was Andy Milonakis.
Oh, okay.
And Andy Milonakis gets an MTV2 show.
Right.
And today
right.
you can still see him doing commercials or he does events. I remember he was, I forget, G4 had its own video game awards show. He appeared on that.
Okay.
He was doing TV. That's what made him money. The guy who did the Numa Numa video on Newgrounds eventually made money by making videos that were ads for Geico, where he danced
that's
to the
right.
I always feel like somebody's watching me, because they had the little money googly eye thing bit for the Geico ads, and he had the gecko dancing in the background. And
that's
like
right.
that is how you were able to monetize your stuff. You couldn't just make your videos and then have YouTube embed an advertisement in there or whatever else.
Right.
Whereas Jimmy, on the other hand, always saw his revenue stream in the digital sector. Like he was like, I am going to look at how much money PewDiePie is making on his videos on YouTube, because that clearly is his model for what he also wants to do.
So many possible.
Hey there, you are listening to a preview of a premium episode of The Worst of All Possible Worlds. If you'd like to listen to the rest of this, head on over to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/worstofall. And you can listen to not only the rest of this episode, but our entire backlog of premium episodes, bonus episodes, and if you subscribe at the $10 tier, you will get an extra episode of the podcast every single month. Again, that is patreon.com/worstofall. Hope to see you there.